Iceberg Gym, back at y'all with another one. And this is a review, head-to-head comparison of the Koss Porta Pro Classics and the Skullcandy Riffs. Both inexpensive headphones. Skullcandy got the other day, Walmart, got it delivered through Instacart, 20 some odd dollars, the low 20s. Koss Porta Pro Classics, I got it for $35, 2018 Amazon. My second go with the Koss Porta Pro Classics. Now the reason why I picked up the Skullcandy is because, hey, the right side wore out on the Koss, I'll say Koss for now, Porta Pro Classics. So the sound goes in and out. And I decided, you know what? Let me try Skullcandy again, because I tried Skullcandy sometime mid 2010s with the in-ear, one of the in-ear ones. And also in the 2010s, the mid 2010s, I had a synthesizers, NRG, those wooden earbuds, had those. After I had a Koss Porta Pro Classics in 2010, and I used that for several years. But I was trying to find something, I assume, bassier and more convenient, pocketable in terms of earbuds. But then later on, I went to Sony MZ's 1110s with the bass boost. Had those for a while. Then I switched back to the Koss Porta Pro Classics in 2018, which from this box. And I know they have a lifetime warranty, and I'll probably send them in. But this video is about the comparison. And what I noticed off bat from the Skullcandies is that, hey, since the nature of these is a little bit bigger, you do get a little more of that bass, sub-bass, little vibration, very slight but noticeable compared to the Koss Porta Pro Classics. And you do get some more high end with the Skullcandy riffs in terms of hearing the hi-hats, if you will. And I'm no audiophile or musician or what have you, so I looked up some parts of the drums, which I thought I was hearing, be it the snares and be it the little tom drums where they, when it's transitioning into the next part of a song, what have you, but, constantly dealing with the hi-hats and dealing with the hi-hats and the snares and the little floor bass drum and, the other instruments, what have you. What I know is that it kind of mutes the vocals with these Skullcandies, meaning it adds a little bit bass to it, to like voices and in general and singers. It adds some bass to it, but it's kind of flat. Otherwise, it doesn't have that lively, dynamic kind of vibe that the Porta Pro Classics possess. So it adds a little bit of artificial bass to it, and anything that mid-range, like when you're dealing with the snare drums, just for that rhythm of that beat, you don't hear it as well. It doesn't sound as clear. Pianos, any other instruments in that range aren't as clear, even though they're clear with the Porta Pro Classics, but they're not with these Skullcandy riffs. The Skullcandy riffs is more focused on the low end and the high end, getting that kind of clarity, and it sounds good, but you're missing out on that mid-range in terms of vocals and that constant instrumentation and rhythms and things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to play my test song, if you will. It's a song that I found on YouTube, came across it. Antidote, Andreas Rico. Came across it some time ago. I like the song, and it has enough differentiation at the beginning of the song, the middle of the song, the end of the song, for a couple minutes song for me to make an assessment. And it has the kind of beat that I will listen to. Now the thing about this is, even though these aren't noise canceling, but it does block some noise by the way it's made with these on-ear type of headphones. With the Porta Pro Classics, it's open, so you can hear what's around you when you're not playing music. And if you are playing music and you're out and about, you can still hear what's going on in terms of just being out in the street, whether you're walking or you need to hear a car, need to hear a voice, whatever else is going on. So the Porta Pro Classics, you want to be kind of in a quiet area to enjoy it best. Now I got these Skullcandies on, and I'm gonna turn up and play this song and just go through it again and tell you what I think. Like the bass line, in terms of the piano, you can get that little slight vibration. And you hear like the floor drums kick in and they sound good. Gives a little vibration as well. Oh yeah, you can hear like the little tom drums and the hi-hat coming in clearly. But the vocals aren't lively, so that's what it is. Piano is a little muddy as well. But it's good for picking up the lows, bass, like the floor drums, and the piano bass line. But not piano during like the actual middle of the song, but like in terms of the bass line part, you get that piano, and you get the higher frequency drums and the hi-hat. You can hear it clearer than you could with the Porta Pro Classics. Now the Porta Pro Classics are trending nowadays, I guess TikTok and things of that nature and some other new designs, because people are really liking it. People that haven't really experienced it, because they picking up those middle tones, that middle frequency. They're so used to hearing the bass and the hi-hats and things of that nature, that having the clear vocals, even for listening to conversation or regular videos and things of that nature, it's surprising people. And you can hear the more dynamic expression in their voices a little bit. It doesn't have that muted kind of Skullcandy common sound that you have nowadays. So where the voice has additional bass and is more flat and muted. You can't have that any kind of dynamic range where you can hear expression and things of that nature. But I'm gonna put on these Porta Pro Classics and replay Antidote. Andreas Rico. I think this is a good test case. And just by the nature of this kind of songs and what I'm comparing it to, with a lot of hip hop, current trap beats kind of things, the Skullcandy is going to pick up the highs and the lows well, but you're going to miss out on the vocals and the rhythmic portion of it. But I can listen to some kind of trap kind of song and just make sure I'm right on it. So I'm playing this. I gotta hold it a little bit because it's broken, so I gotta hold it to. The vocals are clear. Now you can hear the bass line from the piano, but it doesn't have that vibration to it that you get with the Skullcandy. Even though there's on ears, but you get a little vibration. But yeah, the vocals are super clear, dynamic. We can hear expression, and the snare drums sound good. and like the pianos or whatever, like it's the regular beat, the rhythm of it sounds good. Now it kind of clips at the high, and you really don't hear the any kind of hi hats or the those little tom drums up top, what have you, that have a little high frequency. But the clarity and this mid-range vocals and rhythm and instruments that aren't bassy or hitting hi hats and things of that nature come in clear and excellent. So people aren't used to hearing that nowadays. So that's why this Porta Pro Classic is popular. So yeah, that's what you get with it. That's a good test song to hear the difference between the Porta Pros and the Skullcandies. And if you're into hip hop, put on a trap beat kind of song, and you should be able to tell the difference as well. So yeah, what I'm going to do for my next headphones, well, I know if I was kind of like referencing music and testing it, I would use both of these. I would use the Porta Pro to say, hey, let me check the mid-range instrumentation and the vocals, and then let me check the bass and the hi-hats. Just for these regular headphones, I think it's good. You don't need to rattle. You don't need to rattle like a car, but you want to get that slight vibration, that little deeper rhythm, that little deeper rhythm with the bass going on. So yeah, I would use these two for testing out a song, just to check certain things. My next headphones, they got some Koss 330s on ears, and I like the way the Porta Pro Classic sound in mid range. So just by the nature, the shape of the 330s, that should be shaped like the Skullcandy riffs. I should get that little deeper sound on the bass, a little rock, that little rhythm vibration with the floor drum, bass line, pianos, and things of that nature. And that would be an upgrade in terms of Porta Pros. High ends, I assume, with those as well, probably by nature design, I should be able to get a little better hi-hats and higher drum frequencies and hi-hats and other higher frequencies a little better without it clipping out and being able to really pick those up. They also have the over-the-ear ones, but I really don't feel I would need to spend any extra for those, because those can guess be a little too noise cancellation, and I think with noise cancellation it can mess up the instrumentation a little bit. But I'm no audiophile, but I always see with the open air flow, open back kind of stuff, and the smaller earphones, especially at these price points, the cheaper price points, you get the better, I guess, what they call it. I think when I looked up something they call like a soundstage kind of thing, where you can make sure you hear the instruments right, and that's important, especially when you want to get the best quality, whether it's MP3 streaming kind of music kind of thing going on, or hi-fi CD player, what have you. They also have some reference. I think it's the 4S Pro or Pro 4S for the Porta Pros. What is that? A couple $100 or something for the reference, but I'm not even sure I would even need something like that. I just need a increase for a little bit on the low and the high end compared to the Porta Pros. So like if I can mix these two together, the Skullcandies, these Porta Pros, I would have a good sound for me, for what I want to listen to. And I think that'll cover how I want to hear the music. Because even if I'm listening to audio or something, the Porta Pros, it sounds good in that mid range, and that's key for a lot of things. That mid range is important. And I guess that's why it's been popular since the '80s. And well, when you got these new bass heavy ones, that gets kind of lost in the shuffle. But it seems to make a little bit of a comeback right now. But people don't were in the know, or people don't want to look up accuracy and good sound quality, which I did like 2010. I'm like, okay, let me get these Porta Pro Classics, because you get the mid-range and the accuracy for the sound without being some artificial bass kind of sound. Now I had some good, I guess, noise canceling headphones back in the day. I think some Bose things when that was big. That's late '90s, early 2000s. And my dad bought one of the, or he bought like a couple of those Bose systems, and then I guess he got the headphones too, and like buy one get one free. So I was using one of them. That's sort of a computer CD player, and I think they had adjustable. We had to put batteries in it to use it and get the bass. Even though you don't always want to turn all the way up because the bass get kind of muddy, but in certain scenarios. But those like over the ear noise canceling, and those were like the really good bass headphones. And I think everything else sounded pretty clear. But I guess the issue with the Bose was, well, some people I guess they complained about the added bass, but I think the added bass was good, and there could have been some mid range lacking. I don't know. I don't remember, but I remember enjoying those. But when I got some other songs, like, oh, what, I get those Sony on ears and I push them a little tighter and closer, and I still get a decent enough rattle, and I ain't got to worry about batteries or expense. Getting some of my own. So yeah, no audio file or musician or anything at the stands, but I looked up some terms to make sure. I mean, I could tell the difference between like a regular drum, someone doing the change over, and the bass drums and the bass line with the piano. So I could tell those differences. So, I'm getting kind of long-winded in this video. I don't know who's gonna watch it, and I'm getting kind of repetitive, but I am going through the songs. But who was it? I think it was a Kendrick Lamar Humble. And when I was listening to it on these Porta Pro Classics, I'm like, okay, yeah, the vocals sound good, but I remember it hitting a little bit harder when I first heard that song, whether it was in the whip or something, or a bass boosted kind of headphone kind of thing going on. Because like I'm gonna play Humble, Kendrick Lamar. Cause the piano sounds good, but I mean, obviously the piano is kind of a trap. It's like a trap beat. Humble's a trap beat, so it's supposed to be the bass line. So I can't really get that feel, but the vocals sound good. And then the vocals aren't getting buried out. Yep, vocals good. And the regular rhythm drums or whatever, or which sound kind of like a clap. I'm pretty sure it's the 808 drum, so that clap sounds probably from the 808, and it sounds good and clear. But I remember it going a little bit harder in terms of bass line, and these Skullcandies should pick it up. So yeah, you can tell them between Skullcandy and Porta Pro Classics. I guess with car music like that, Andrea's Rico, the Antidote. I think that's kind of car kind of music, but it still had that trap kind of vibe to it. The vocals are muffled, but the bass line of piano hits harder. You can get that little good feel with the bass and like the floor bass. And when you hear the regular snare kind of drums, but I think these snares sound like claps, which is also part of the 808 drum kit. It sounds good, and it's some of the higher frequencies, hi-hats, whatever else they put in there. So yeah, this was always how I kind of remembered it. So yeah, for that bassline piano, sounds better with the Skullcandies. And that's before my headphones with the Porta Pro start working. I'm like, okay, I remember this song, but why ain't it hitting? Why ain't it hitting? Well, like, it sounds good and clear, but I'm like, the bass is a little bit off. And then, you know what? Yeah, the low ends on the Porta Pros, in terms of that, getting that little vibration, it's not going to get it. So, yeah, I think next, whenever that is, Koss Porta Pros, I think I'll try the on ears. And I think that'll be like a little enough vibration bass for, you know, for what I need it for. So I'm sure the low end will be taking care of that. Hopefully I can catch some of the hi-hats, and I think that'll be the good, inexpensive. I think about like $50 or something. Yeah, probably. I think about $50 for those 330s, and I think that'll be good for me. I don't think I need anything else or any other kind of reference kind of thing, because I like what they do with the Porta Pro class, and I think they'll just build upon it. So, yeah, we'll see. So, yeah, that's the review, the comparison. Skullcandy versus Porta Pros. Porta Pros good for the mid-range vocals, rhythm, instruments right there. Skullcandy is good for the bass line, floor drums, hi-hats, those kind of things on the track. So, yeah, that's what it is. Long-winded than it needs to be, but I just wanted to share that, give my opinion on that. So, yeah, that's what it is. Iceberg Jim out. Deuces.